So today I'm going to be talking about the Lenovo Legion 7i that I purchased late last year, and I've been using it ever since right around Christmas time. And I just want to lay out some bullet points right away, and then you'll see me cut into just a casual conversation like I normally do, because as you have kind of gotten the idea here, I'm not a professional reviewer or anything like that. I just talk about my journey with gear and equipment and electronics, however you want to preface it. Things that I enjoy doing and have a fun time playing around with and using for things like content creation. And it's been a real positive experience using a PC. For some of the bullet points I wanted to touch on, just so you know right away where my head's at, and I've had a little bit of time to really kind of be a little more concise about my feelings about the laptop and my experiences. And one of the things that I really enjoyed with the Lenovo Legion 7i 2025 version, the 5070, 32 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage, is it really feels like a workhorse. It's built really soundly, and I don't feel like it's anything less of a computer or build quality than my MacBook Pro M5 base model. And I've been a Mac user for a while. I've been Mac products, Apple products basically for a while, and so I've really liked their hardware right along with their software. Just the build quality and how well it works for a long period of time. And I think as basic consumers as most of us are, I think reliability and longevity is really important, especially when we're paying thousands of dollars for this stuff. And I feel like sometimes in many avenues of the electronic world, it's the quality just isn't there. It's not built to last, and that was kind of what kept me away from PCs for a long time. But the Lenovo Legion 7i has changed my opinion, and I don't think I'll ever be without a PC, as I'll probably say multiple times during this video. I'm probably in between a passive user and a power user. I do more than just browse and entertainment purposes, and I go deeper. I edit video. I try to render things like upscaling video to from to 4K when possible, and then I compress videos, and I use CapCut, and I'm Adobe Premiere. I've tried DaVinci Resolve on it. Can't stand DaVinci Resolve. It's just way above my pay grade. I love playing sport games, so that's pretty much where my video game playing goes. FIFA, Madden, NHL. I have Xbox Live, so I play all those games with that, and I've gotten some experience using Steam, and so everything that I need it for, it handles it really well. And I haven't had any experiences where I felt like maybe I was throwing too much at it and it couldn't take with what I was trying to accomplish with. A few minor examples maybe that I'll get into towards the end of this, that I'll get into why I still have a MacBook Pro M5 in my repertoire, and why I haven't gone just all the way to the PC side. Um, One of the great things is the OLED screen. Fantastic. I saw my wife's Yoga 99 Pro computer, and I was just like, oh my God, I got to have something like that. 16 inches, beautiful OLED screen, watching videos, just even just scrolling the internet. I mean, that vivid screen and the colors, it just pops. And I love that. I mean, it makes it really enjoyable to use, even just for menial tasks. So I've really liked that. And then again, with the refresh rate being so high, I think it's 240 hertz. If I'm wrong, I'll put a note in the video, but I think it's 240 hertz. Fantastic. It just snappy. It just, I can scroll. It just moves from one point to the next when I'm guiding it. It's just a fantastic experience on that level. So the OLED screen, the high refresh rate, just make it an enjoyable computer to use. Just for everything: research, entertainment, streaming live. So it's basically my daily computer. I use it way more than I do the Mac. Windows, it's not been a bad experience so far. It's been kind of fun to use, and I haven't had any like really negatives like I did 10 years ago when I was using Windows PCs, or even when I was using older PCs at work. Though they just seemed to, it just seemed a bit temperamental, and it just, like I've said many times in other videos, I'm a plug and play kind of guy, and I don't want to have to do a lot of configuring and figuring things out, and trying to jerry rig something to make it work. That just isn't something that I enjoy doing. I want it to work right out of the box, and I want it to be reliable and consistent. That has been a pretty much the experiences I've had with the PC. Now, there's been a few quirks, like the other day, for example, my mouse quit working. The Bluetooth connectivity just wasn't there, so I unpaired it and repaired it, and everything was fine. I'm sure those are quirks that happen on the Mac too. But it just reminded me the kind of things that I was dealing with when 10 years ago when I had a PC laptop. And but other little things like that, there's lots of updates. I try to stay on top of that. Some minor quirks, but the things that you do give up with Mac, you kind of gain with Windows. You have a larger, more open field to play in, and I kind of like that. That being able to be a little bit more versatile and be able to use more things with the laptop. That being stuck in the Apple sphere, you're kind of limited in some of the things that you can do. But with the PC, it gives you a little bit more versatility, and I do like that about Windows PCs. Um, Now I know there's a lot of negatives that could be said about Windows and everything else, and I'm sure all of that's true. But my experiences so far has been an enjoyable experience, and I think a lot of it has to do with the computer itself, the Lenovo Legion 7i. I think Lenovo just makes a really good computer, and it optimizes everything that it needs to optimize for it to work really well and work reliable. And like I said, every Lenovo computer I've used in the past 20 years, I just look at this thing like when I was working for the state agency, working in the field, and being reliant on my computer. I had this old tattered up Lenovo computer, and it was still working and still working really well. So it was snappy. It just looked like crap, but it was still built like a tank and you could tell it went through a lot of abuse, and it was still working. So I've always had kind of high regards with Lenovo. It's really fun to use. I mean, the OLED screen, the high refresh rate, all of that. It's just engaging. The RGB lights, the computer itself, the white color of the laptop is beautiful. So it's fun to look at. Everything just kind of pops, and it makes it fun to use on multiple levels. So again, that's another thing that I really enjoy. And you can't beat a nice looking piece of machinery. If you it's like a lot of things. If you like the looks of something, and then it gives you the results that you're looking for, you're winning on all levels. Um, One of the things that I've noticed, I'll have multiple tabs open. Even have popped on a video game, like if I'm playing if I'm playing FIFA or something like that, and got multiple tabs open, and I'm still being able to play my FIFA game, and then I can go back and like if I wanted to change something I was listening to on Spotify or YouTube, or if I wanted to research something, all of that just it works really well, and I'm surprised how well that works. It's a powerhouse, and it served me well so far. this is the vibe I wanna have with my conversations about my journey with gear, and that's why I kinda label that in my title. I'm not really looking for clickbait. Sure, I want to get as many views and subscribers as I can with this channel. I know it's gonna be slow because people are gonna look at me as like, "Who is this old guy, like, rambling on about, equipment or electronics or gear?" What we're seeing with the RAM shortage and the storage shortages and now the chip shortages and all these little things, and then the rising cost of all of this stuff, which I think is manufactured in a lot of ways, but that's besides the point. I mean, I feel like some of these companies are taking advantage of the shortages and they're using it to just permanently uh, raise the cost of their products, and I think that's unfortunate for us consumers. But there you have it. That's why last year's tech is for today, meaning that I think there isn't a lot of innovation. It's all incremental in a lot of ways. And I think your M4 MacBook Pros work really well. And if you are coming from an M1 or an M2, you're going to love that. So why bother with the M5? Just get an M4. Your M3 Ultra may not be as good as the M5 Ultra, but is it $2,000-$3,000 worth going with the M5? No. The M3 Ultra is a fantastic chip. It's a fantastic computer, and you're likely going to be able to use it for 4 to 5 more years with no problem. And I think this is the mindset that we need to have in today's world, is not be afraid to go for last year's model, or 7 8 month old models right before the new the new uh the new versions drop, right? Because I think that you're going to get much more bang for your buck, and it's going to last a long time. Sure, you may get one less year of updates on whatever that may be, but at the end of the day, you're saving money and you're not losing out on a lot of specs, and it's going to work for you, especially if you're already upgrading. Like your phones, I don't upgrade every year because I don't think the next generation is gonna be that much better, and, when you're talking iPhones in particular, it's just incremental, right? I guess from the 15 to 17 has been a pretty big jump, and that's just happened to be this year's when they upgraded. I'm not going to bother with the iPhone 18. I'm going to buy my daughter an iPhone 17 Pro very soon. She's going to be upgrading from the 15, and she's going to love it. And she's not going to even care about the 18. And so this is the sort of thing that I think that we have to think about as consumers. And I highly recommend, if you're looking for a gaming laptop that can do video editing and streaming and do all the things that you need it to do, that you highly look at the 5070 Lenovo Legion 7i. It's a fantastic computer, and if you can find one for a decent price, 32 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte of storage, you are not going to be disappointed whatsoever. There have been a few times that when I've upscaled a video 4K to 8K just to try it out or whatever, it didn't do it as well as my Mac did it. It came out One of the videos, it came out a little jittery on the PC, and it was something that I wouldn't be able to use. But anyway, if I wanted to do that or felt like I needed to do that, I think my MacBook would do it slightly better. But just regular 4K video, it's been pretty easy to edit on. There are a couple of annoyances, like I have to plug the computer in the back. Then it's the big charger, it's a big brick, you'll be able to see pictures of the B-roll that I've got going through this video, so it's not kind of the refined look that you get with the MacBook Pros. one of the big downsides to PC over Mac is the battery life on these gaming machines is horrendous. You know, it you almost have to have it um, plugged in at all times. It wouldn't be a machine that you would want to take on a trip or something like that unless you were just prepared to use the charger at all times, or most, 90% of the time, because the thing is just not efficient with battery life. And I knew that going in, so it wasn't like I was unprepared for that. So it really isn't like a really downside for me. For my wife, it kind of is. She does have kind of battery anxiety with her Yoga 9i because a lot of times she's out in the field. But I told her, I said, the eh, the downsides to PCs is they're like muscle cars compared to the efficient machines that you're used to with the Macs, and their battery life is horrendous. So you have to carry the battery with you at all times. You got to put it in your laptop bag um, because you're going to need it. Uh, and so she's kind of come to that conclusion that she does that. So, um, I don't have to charge my Mac every day. I mean, if I'm just using it lightly or whatever, I can leave it off the charger and come back and it's, still got enough battery life to do whatever I need it to do, and then I can plug it in after that. So you can't do that with these PCs. You have to plug it in, and every night you got to make sure you plug it in and it's all charged up. If you're like my wife and you got to take it out in the fields in some regards, because you need to realize that battery is going to drain quickly. So those are the downsides. I know people complain about Mac being boring and it's not anything really to write home about, and it's the same chassis for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Whatever it may be, still a slick machine and it looks well and it's built really sturdily. And that's kind of what I was going for with the Lenovo um, brand when I was looking to buy a PC. I wanted that kind of that feel that I'm getting a premium machine that is going to work and work well for as long as I need it. I kind of look at computers at like between 3 and 5 years is what I hope to get out of my machines. And that's kind of where I'm at with the Lenovo Legion 7i. If I can get 3 to 4 years with this PC and not really notice any kind of legs or feel like I'm missing out with the newer CPUs and GPUs or whatever, then I'm fine. And especially with today's shortages and overpriced machines that have come out in 2026, you know, uh, it, last year's tech is for today. It's not for tomorrow.
Thanks for watching The Voices of the Enthusiasts. Please subscribe and like.